Miller here. Happy snow day. I know that it is a snowy day outside, but we will also be having an opportunity to continue our learning and explore some different telling time topics today on our virtual day, as well as reading about coral reefs, practicing two-step story problems in mathematics, and just for you to enjoy the afternoon a little bit, I did not post a writing assignment. So before I jump into telling time, I want to share my screen with you. This is our instruction page for every day. Okay, so you know this. It is going to be posted in Google Classroom shortly. It is currently 8:16 in the morning. And I'm going to have that posted closer to 10 o'clock. I did not tell my kiddos I was making a video right now, so it's going to be interesting what happens. So I'm just going to jump in and kind of teach a little lesson about telling time. This is the lesson I would have been teaching if we were in school together. Caleb is here with us, and he just found a little ant on the floor. Let's begin. Caleb? Mommy needs to talk to the computer for a little bit. Can you be quiet? Okay. So one of the things I want to inform you about and just talk to you about in telling time is that why? Why do we need to tell time?
Hey, Mommy, I have big muscle.
Okay, you strong boy. Do you want to come sit with me and listen to my lesson?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was really helping students start understanding. Mommy's teaching you, so can you be quiet? Do you want to watch a video on my phone?
Yeah.
What video do you want? I think I can pause. Hi students, I'm back. I do have Caleb quiet and watching a video right now, so I want to let you know I am going to keep this video on the shorter spectrum of time, but I also want to understand that I'm talking about time. What is time? And I'm going to teach you about time. So let's just kind of jump back thousands and thousands of years ago. So if we really think about telling time, this idea of a clock might not always be what you're thinking. A clock, like you see here, that is representing hours and minutes is something that has been a modern development within the past couple hundreds of years. So how did people tell time and understand a concept of time without what is now referred to as a digital clock right here with the numbers flashing, or what is called an analog clock with the actual what we would call like lines to represent hours and minutes. Okay, so we have two types of clocks right here, but how would people ever tell time? So I found this really interesting when I did some research that there would have been in like ancient cities or villages a bell tower. And the bell tower would be ringing every hour, announcing to all of the people in the village that the time was going forward. But how do we know and how can we trust that somebody says it's 11 o'clock and then it changes to 12 o'clock and changes to 1 o'clock? So this has to go back to the creation of how we have the sun and the earth rotating together. Okay, so that really is important for us to understand that since the beginning of human history or recorded history, we understand that the earth, okay, so if I have, oh, where's my video? So if I have the earth, okay, we do know that there's a sun and a moon. Okay, so I'll be here the sun, okay? So the earth moves around the sun, and one cycle, one time it goes around would be considered a 24-hour period. So some of that time, the Earth is really close to the sun, and it can get the light of the sun, and that is during the daylight hour. So that is in the morning, the afternoon, and then in the evening, you've probably seen before when the sun just kind of goes below the horizon, or what we can see past the fields. And then the second part of the day is night.
It's not on. Luna. Oh.
So in this time of the Earth and the sun working together, we know that the Earth moves around the sun, and that's considered one day, and that's a 24-hour time. And we can also look and use something called a sundial. This is an ancient way. Maybe I'll look up a picture real quick to show you an ancient way of telling the time, because we could then see the shadow that's casted. So this is all just information to tell you about time. But one of the most important things I want you to pay attention with me today is understanding a clock. And when we do know how to read a clock, we can have the life skill of telling time. So this is not just a third grade lesson. This is a lesson for your whole life. And one of the reasons why we want to know how to tell time is that so you, as a college student one day, can identify the time a class starts, what you have to do to be at the right place, and be in the class when the professor or the teacher is ready to speak. So you have to plan your day and plan time so that you can attend events and not be late. Maybe you need to catch a bus, and the bus runs every 15 minutes. You need to know how to calculate how much time that you have to travel to the bus stop. Your family uses time every day. You are using time even today. Mrs. Vigil's devotions will start at 10:05 today. And at 10:05, you'll have to look at either an analog or a digital clock and to determine if it is too early for the devotions to start yet, or if it's on time, or if it's past the time the devotion starts. So we're just kind of learning about this concept of time a little bit today as I introduce this skill to you, because it's really important for your whole life. So now I'm going to jump into reading a clock and just the different types of clock. I already talked about it, but here's the slide I want to show you. There's something called an analog clock. An analog clock actually shows hands and hours and minutes. Okay, so this is the type of clock we have in the back of our classroom. This is the clock that you would have to spend some time thinking about and use the knowledge of reading a clock, because it does show hands. So there is an hour hand and a minute hand. And then the digital clock, these are kind of like the easy clock. Maybe this is what a cell phone looks like, maybe an alarm clock in your room. It shows us using digits, what the numbers would represent for the time. So this young boy right here is holding a digital clock. But reading a clock is what is difficult. That's going to be our skill today. So to read a clock, we need to understand what is on a clock. So if you look right here, a clock has the numerals 1 all the way through 12. These do not change. These are always in the same position. However, what does change is the hours and minute hands. Okay, so what I can see on this clock is that there is a long minute hand. The big hand on a clock shows us the minutes, and the small clock on the hand shows us the hours. So that is just something that you'll have to memorize as you move forward. So let's also talk about the skill by looking at this clock. This is a website called ABC. I'll have a link to this website, and I really like how this one works with the digital clock and the analog clock, because as I move my hour hand, it should work here. Oh, as I move I'm going to move the time on the digital clock. As I move the time on my digital clock, notice that the time is moving on my analog clock, okay? So I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to reset it. I have my minutes at 22. I'm going to go all the way back to 0 minutes. So this will be 12 a.m. So 12 a.m. is an interesting concept because we did talk about how there is a light time of the day and a night time of the day. So we have to recognize that there is such as an AM and our PM. I'm going to stick it in PM. No, I'll do AM today. I'm going to try to find the exact time of the day. And I want you to see that I'm going to use the analog clock to change the digital clock. So right now, according to my clock, I'm going to use the shorthand for the hours, if I can get that. Okay, my shorthand, oh, I guess I have to move just my minute hand. So if I move my minute hand, my hour hand will move too. So if I'm going to move my minute hand, I'm going to go to 8. Now I'm moving my hour hand. See how that is now at 1 o'clock now? 2 o'clock. So because my minute hand is passing all the minutes, making the time move forward. And I haven't said this yet, but you will discover today, and you will know probably already, that there's 60 minutes in an hour. So all of these little clicks right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all of the very short lines that you see on the analog clock represent 1 minute. Then there's a longer line and a numeral 1, a longer line and a numeral 2. That is counting time by 5. So if you know how to skip count by 5, you know how to read an analog clock. So every number just represents 5. So right here, the hour hand, the short hand is pointed to the 3. The minute hand is on 0, but if I move the minute hand, I can go to 5, 3:05. 3:10, 3:15, and 3:20. 3:20 is actually the exact time. 3:20 p.m. is that when we dismiss our school day. So I'm going to change now to AM. So AM, 3:20 a.m. is a time where you might be in a deep sleep. All of your family's lights are out. Everybody's tucked into their beds because it's the middle of the night. The sun is not shining for light. It's the sun is on the other side of the world, and what we're experiencing is nighttime. So I'm gonna move it, pretending like we're gonna wake up. Okay, but this is all I have. Let me do this one. Okay, so I woke up today at 6 o'clock. So I'm going to move my minute to move my hour. So I'm going to move my minute. Oh, 3 o'clock passed. Now it's 4 o'clock. I was still sleeping. 5 o'clock. I was still sleeping. So I'm going to move my minute all the way around. Again, 5:30. I think my husband woke up. And at 6 o'clock, I woke up. So 6 a.m. So as I move the long minute hand all the way around the clock, it is moving the hour. So now I'm going to move one more hour past at 7 o'clock. I was thinking about preparing lessons for you today. It is now 8:30. So if I move my minute hand around, my hour hand is moving. So it's 8 a.m. My clock, both my analog and my digital clock show that. Now I'm going to move by the 5 minutes. So actually I should back to 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 8:30. And since I've been talking, moving my clock, 1 more minute has passed. So I'm going to move my minute hand, and 8:30 a.m. That's the exact time we see now. Just want to make sure that I'm not making this video too long. Feel free to go back and check this video again. Pause it, listen to me, move the minute hands, the hour hands, talking about the types of clocks. I do apologize for little Caleb here in the background, talking quite a bit. You'll see slides like this today that will ask you to make the time. So you'll have some arrows right there.
Mom, what's
You have to wait. It's just a little thing. I will help understand. I will help you understand this if you need it. Feel free to please reach out to me if you want me to talk to you about telling time. Thank you for your patience. Caleb, would you like to say goodbye?
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Have a great day telling time.
Wow.